G'day guys, so we've now been introduced to our new depth study, Ancient Egypt, and we've been looking at analysing a few sources from Ancient Egypt, and today we're going to be looking at how to write like an Egyptian and learn a little bit more about the history of the hieroglyphics, the Ancient Egyptian alphabet. So the first alphabet, the hieroglyphic alphabet, was much larger than ours. It was made up of more than 700 symbols. At first, each symbol stood for a word. As the language became more complex, more symbols came also to stand for other language elements besides single words, such as the following: the sound of a consonant, the sound of a syllable, the ideas or actions. Now here's an image of some ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics, and there's two parts or two different alphabets going on in this image. We can see that from the bottom information, source 1, this papyrus sheet. So papyrus, it was made out of a plant that grew along the banks of the rivers, especially the Nile River in Egypt. So on this papyrus, it's kind of a type of paper. This shows an Egyptian high priest presenting an offering to Osiris, the god of the afterlife. It contains both the hieroglyphic script, which we can see here in the red circle, that's the traditional hieroglyphic script, and a simpler hieratic script, which we can see here. As we're about to find out, this script was used more of a simple version of the traditional hieroglyphics. So reading hieroglyphics. At first, hieroglyphic symbols were laid out in columns. People read down each column from top to bottom. From about 2000 BCE, so we know that stands for before Common Era, the symbols were arranged in rows, more like our writing. Sometimes they were read from left to right, and sometimes they were read from right to left. So that the reader knew where to start, a symbol of a person, animal or bird was put at the start or end of the line. The direction in which the symbol faced marked the start of the line. So if a bird faced right, you would read the line from right to left. And here is an image of the hieroglyphic alphabet that has lots of sounds that are the same in the English alphabet. So I've got A here is a bird, and then we've got symbols and syllables, which are a combination of sounds. So decoding hieroglyphics. After pagan temples were shut down in 392 Common Era, so when Christianity was declared an official religion of Rome, people lost the ability to read and write hieroglyphics. So for 1500 years it remained a mystery. It was then only in 1799 when a French soldier discovered a large stone covered in carved writing near the town of Rosetta in the Nile Delta. It was a very important stone that he found. It's now become known as the Rosetta Stone. It carried a statement by the pharaoh in 3 different scripts. So it had hieroglyphics, Demotic, and Ancient Greek. A translator was then able to use his knowledge of Ancient Greek and many other languages to break the code. So there's 3 different languages on there, including hieroglyphics, and then someone who was able to read the Ancient Greek writing was able to translate that hieroglyphics. And this is a picture of that stone. So source 3, an interpretation of its hieroglyphics allowed scholars to learn much about ancient Egypt. Think about how long it would have taken to write all those different symbols on that rock. Very precise. So only boys were taught to read and write. That's interesting, isn't it? I wonder why I think that is. At first, they scratched messages on broken pieces of limestone and pottery. Once they could write, they used sheets of papyrus as paper and sharpened bits of reed as pens. Their inks with solid blocks of powdered minerals in different colours, which they mixed with water. So we can see there's an image here of a papyrus sheet, the thin paper-like material made from the pith of the papyrus plant. which was abundant along the Nile Delta of Egypt. Doesn't really get used anymore because we now all use paper. So here's some activities I'd like you to complete. We've got activities 1, 2, 3 and 4. All of these are to be done in your exercise book.